بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على يا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله على وعلى آلك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله الحسين. غريب شهيد يا مظلوم كربلاء ومسلوب العمامة والرداء. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، ما خاب من تمسك بكم ومن من التجا إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على الجيوب المضرجات. It is narrated from Imam al-Zaman Salamullahi alayhi that he recited a ziyarah towards Hussein known by Ziyaratun Nahiya. Imam al-Zaman says in that ziyarah, peace be upon the chest soaked in blood. As-salamu ala shifahi al-dhabila. Peace be upon the withered lips. As-salamu ala al-ajsad al-ariyat. Peace be upon the bodies that were stripped. As-salamu ala al-jusum al-shahibat. Peace be upon the pallid and lifeless bodies. As-salamu ala al-dima' as-sa'ilat. Peace be upon the blood that gushed and streamed. As-salamu ala al-a'dha' al-muqatta'at. Peace be upon the limbs that were torn apart. As-salamu ala Ali al-Kabir. Peace be upon Ali Akbar. It is narrated that Ali Akbar on that day after he went to the battlefield, Ali Akbar was struck by the enemy. Ali Akbar was tired from the weight of the armor and from the wounds inflicted on his body and head. It is narrated that Ali Akbar at some point he hugged the horse. He hugged the horse, meaning I cannot fight anymore. And normally a well-trained horse is trained such that when the fighter hugs it, it takes him back to the camp, to his side. But the blood of Ali Akbar flowed on the eyes of the horse, so he took him to the enemy's side and they cut him to pieces. At that time Ali Akbar said, Aba ya Hussein, alayka minni salam. Ya أبتا هذا جدي رسول الله قد سقاني بكأس الأوفى شربة لا ظما بعدها أبدا. The Imam walked to Ali Akbar, while Ali Akbar was saying, peace be upon you, O Father. This is the Holy Messenger of God, is offering me the drink that you promised me, after which I shall never be thirsty. The enemy surrounded Ali Akbar, فَضَرَبُوهُ بِالسُّيُوفِ. They began striking him with the swords. فَقَطَّعُوهُ إِرْبًا. They cut Ali Akbar into pieces. A narration says Sakina was standing next to her father. Sakina says, I suddenly saw my father Hussein rushing towards the body of Ali Akbar. Waladi Ali, oh my son Ali. They said the Imam, when he reached the body of his son Ali Akbar, he threw himself onto his son and he began to cry, Bunay Ali, ala dunya ba'daka al-afa. This world after you means nothing to me. Assalamu ala al-radi'i as-saghir. Imam al-Zaman continued, peace be upon the tender infant Ali Asghar. They narrate that Imam al-Hussein, on that day when he was left alone, he went towards the tent of Zainab and he called her, O sister, give me my baby so that I can smell it, so that I can hold it, so that I can bid it farewell. Zainab entered to the tent and she brought the baby Ali Asghar to Hussein, carrying him and carrying with her the anguish and sorrow for the infant. Here is your infant Hussein. His tongue has dried up from extreme thirst and hunger. He has not drunk milk or water for 3 days, and his mother's milk had dried up due to her thirst. Hussein alayhi salam took his infant to bid him farewell. La ilaha illallah. He sat him on his lap and he kissed him. Oh my son, woe to these people if your grandfather al-Mustafa is their opponent. It is narrated that at that moment Harmala said, so I put an arrow in the bowstring. So I put an arrow in the bowstring and looked at where to shoot the baby. And I saw his neck shining on his father's Hussein, on Hussein's upper arm, as if it were a silver jug. Ajarakumullah, the accursed Harmala said, so I shot the baby with my arrow and pierced it through his neck. It is narrated that this accursed Harmala later, when he was captured by Al-Mukhtar, who was avenging the Shuhada of Karbala, Mukhtar went after those criminals who participated in the crime of Karbala. And when Harmala was brought to Mukhtar, Harmala narrated to the people what he did. People said, woe to you, did your heart not soften to the infant at all? He said, yes. They said, how? He said, because the infant was unconscious from extreme thirst, but when he felt the heat of the arrow, he took his hands out of his swaddle and embraced the neck of his father Hussein and he began to flutter in his hands like a slaughtered bird. Assalamu alayya al-muhtasib as-sabir. Peace be upon the patient, Ya Hussein. Peace be upon the patient, one who bore it all for the sake of Allah. السلام على المظلوم بلا ناصر. لبيك سيدي أبا عبد الله. Peace be upon the oppressed one who stood without a helper. السلام على المغسل بدم الجراح. Peace be upon the one bathed in the blood of his wounds. When Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi was struck when he was alone, when the spears and the swords had torn his blessed body and blood poured like a river from his sacred neck, Imam salamullahi alayhi, he raised both his hands to catch the blood as it flowed from beneath his throat, his palms filled with blood. This is the blood of the Prophet's grandson. Then he lifted them to his head and beard, and he dyed them with his own blood, and he whispered, I go to meet my Lord, having this as my dye, while my rights have been trampled. Imam al-Zaman continues describing the scene of Imam al-Hussein in his final moments. فَهَوَيْتَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ جَرِيحًا, and you fell to the ground wounded. تطأك الخيول بحوافرها, trampled beneath the hooves of horses. Ya Zahra, Imam al-Hussein's ribs were crushed under the horses. وَتَعْلُوكَ الطُّغَاةُ بِبَوَاتِرِهَا, while the wicked raised their sharp blades upon you. The sweat of death beaded on your noble brow. Imam al-Zaman continues in the ziyarah, as your hands open and closed in pain and surrender, Ya Hussein, you cast a fleeting hidden glance towards your camp and your family in your last moments, but you were consumed by agony, unable to reach your children and kin. وَأَسْرَعَ فَرَسُكَ شَارِدًا إلى خيامك قاصدا محمحما باكيا. Your horse fled disoriented, galloping back to the tents, neighing and weeping. When the women beheld your broken horse and saw the twisted saddle upon its back, they rushed out from behind their veils, slapping their cheeks in sorrow, calling out your name with anguished cries, Ya Hussein. Once honored, now humiliated, they hurried towards the place of your fall. وَالشِّمْرُ جَالِسٌ عَلَى صَدْرِكَ, while Shimr was sat upon your holy chest. وَمُولِغٌ سَيْفَهُ عَلَى نَحْرِكَ, Ya Allah, driving his blade into your throat. قَابِضٌ عَلى شَيْبَتِكَ بِيَدِهِ, clutching your grey beard in his grip, slaughtering you with his sword of steel. Ya Hussein, your senses stilled and your breath grew faint and vanished. وَرُفِعَ عَلَى الْقَنَاةِ رَاسُكَ, and your head was hoisted upon a spear. السَّلَامُ عَلَى الرُّؤُوسِ الْمُشَالَاتِ, peace be upon the heads raised upon spears on the day of Ashura. In the burning afternoon they killed Hussein, and they raised his blessed head on the tip of a spear. As-salamu ala al-abdan as-salib, peace be upon the plundered bodies. After Hussein was killed, the people rushed to plunder him. They robbed him of his cloak, of his armor, of his sword, even the ring. When one of the accursed people tried to remove the ring of his finger, they couldn't. So the Mal'oon, instead, he severed the finger of Abi Abdullah. La ilaha illallah. They left Hussein on the plains of Karbala, his head taken, his chest crushed, his breath gone. Imam Mahdi salamullahi alayhi says in the ziyarah, وَالسُّبِيَ أَهْلُكَ كَالْعَبِيدِ, your family were taken captive like slaves, chained in iron, paraded upon the backs of the camels. Peace be upon the women laid exposed before the world. The Mal'ooni, the accursed ones, they turned to the tents as if what they've done so far wasn't enough. the sanctuary of the daughters of Rasulullah. They stormed them, looted whatever they could find. Then they came to the women themselves. Yes, the granddaughters of Fatima. They robbed them, they humiliated them. Assalamu ala al-Husayn, assalamu ala al-Muhami bila mu'in. Peace be upon the helper, the supporter, the protector who had no one to support him. Ala min nasirin yansuruni, labbaik labbaik ya Husayn. Assalamu ala al-Shayb al-Khadid. Assalamu alayya al-Khadd al-Tareem, that cheek which lay on the floor. On the sand of Karbala, it is narrated that Hussein, as he fell off his horse, he fell on his cheek. Assalamu ala al-Badan al-Salim. Assalamu ala al-Thaghr al-Maqru'i bil-Qadid. Peace be upon the teeth struck with the rod. Assalamu ala al-Ras al-Marfu'. My brothers and my sisters, in Ziyarat Ashura we recite Allahumma inna hadha yawma tabarakat bihi banu Umayya وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. In the ziyarah we say, Oh Allah, this is a day on which the Umayyads and the sons of the eater of livers, the wicked, the son of the wicked, they have rejoiced on this day and they were declared accursed by you and by your Prophet in every place and occasion where your Prophet stood. Meaning, my brothers and my sisters, in every place that the Prophet was, he would remember the tragedies of Hussein. He would remember what would occur to his grandson Hussein. When he goes to the mosque, he would remember Hussein. When he goes back home, he would remember Hussein. The Prophet knows how critical Hussein's role is. Please allow me to finish with this poem, which is a translation of a poem by a brother, Muhammad Musawi, speaking and addressing the millions who are walking towards the shrine of Hussein these days. May Allah grant us that fortune someday. Ya Allah. Oh, millions who are walking towards the shrine of Hussein. While walking, do not forget the state of Zainab. Who was made to walk 10 times, tens of times what you're walking. Oh, you who are walking to Hussein, many processions and many people are surrounding you in your path. You feel safe. You feel secure. No one is cutting you off from water. No one burning your tents. You walk relaxed, honored and appreciated. But do not forget the state of Zainab. No sip of water, no word of support. Sometime falling from the saddle, another times being snatched. On one side the people of Kufa watching, on another side the people of Sham watching. Oh, you walking to Hussein. On the way you hear people tell you, from your home until you arrive to Karbala, may God support you. May God reward you. Ahsant, welcome. But do not forget the state of Zainab. Only met with slanders and only welcomed by the whips and chains of captivity. Or you who are walking to Hussein, along the way you have shade and you have homes to rest in. But Zainab was pelted with stones by whatever house she passed. Oh, you walking to Hussein, flags march ahead of you. A custom in the Arbaʿīn procession. And you walk and you see only replicas around you. But Zainab, she marched with the heads of noblemen on spears. Yes, in Zainab's face, the whole time she walked, there were heads upon spears in front of her. Or you walking to Hussein, you glimpse the shrine from afar. You see a golden dome and you see a flag. But Zainab found only a grave of dust when she came back on foot. Or you walking to Hussein, when you arrive, you will find doors and windows and you will visit with honor. But Zainab was told by Sajjad as they passed by Karbala on the way back. Sajjad said to her, you see that grave marked with these stones? That is the grave of Hussein. And she would reply, I can't see, oh nephew, guide me to the grave. And she extends her hands to feel the grave of her beloved Hussein. Or you walking to Hussein when Arbaʿīn ends, everyone returns to their home, but Zainab, her path was Abbas, and she lost her path by the bank of the Euphrates. She returns to Medina longing for her protector and his eyes, Ya Abbas. If Abbas is not at home, then home is dark. If Hussein is not at home, then there is no sweet home anymore. فلئن أخرتني الدهور وعاقني عن نصرك المقدور. Imam al-Zaman says to Imam al-Hussein in the ziyarah, but if the ages have delayed me and destiny has barred me from aiding you, if I wasn't among those who battled your enemies, if I wasn't with those who confronted the ones who bore your enmity, فَلَأَنْدُبَنَّكَ صَبَاحًا وَمَسَاءً, then surely I shall mourn you morning and evening. وَلَأَبْكِيَنَّ لَكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوعِ دَمًا, and I shall weep for you, not with tears, but with blood. إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. ماتم الحسين